Hello everyone, welcome to 10-Minute Physiology. In today's video, I'm going to give you a short introduction to the neurochemistry of the autonomic nervous system. Now this video isn't really going to give you a detailed look behind all the chemical reactions that take place and all those things. What it's really meant to do is to set you up for the next video where we're going to talk about how synaptic transmission occurs in the autonomic nervous system. So with that, let's begin. So I would like to first describe to you this figure here, which is a cross-section of the spinal cord. And what we see here in the spinal cord is that we have the lateral horn here and the ventral root here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to see the neurochemistry behind the sympathetic nervous system. So remember that the preganglionic cell body is going to be found in the lateral horn. And the preganglionic neuron is going to project onto the postganglionic neuron in the peripheral nervous system. And this occurs in the autonomic ganglion. So what type of chemicals are going to be used for synaptic transmission in this case? Well, the first one is going to be acetylcholine. So acetylcholine is going to be used in the autonomic ganglion. So it's going to be used to send signals from the preganglionic neuron to the postganglionic neuron. And the second chemical is going to be norepinephrine, which is released from the postganglionic neuron onto the target cell. So let's take a closer look at both of these chemicals. So let's take a look at the catecholamines. So these are the catecholamines, and what we see here are two main parts where the name comes from. This part is the catechol, and this part is going to be the amine. And the same goes for noradrenaline here, where this would be the catechol and this would be the amine. So adrenaline or epinephrine is going to be released from the adrenal medulla, and norepinephrine or noradrenaline is going to be released from the postganglionic SNS neurons. Now there is an important exception to this rule, and this is going to be found with the sympathetic neurons that innervate the sweat glands. These postganglionic neurons are actually going to be releasing acetylcholine instead of norepinephrine. So now let's take a look at the chemicals released by the parasympathetic nervous system. So at the ganglion, you're going to find acetylcholine released from the preganglionic neuron onto the postganglionic, and the postganglionic is going to be releasing acetylcholine onto the target cell. So let's take a closer look at acetylcholine. So this is the chemical structure of acetylcholine, and it's derived from two parts. The first is acetate, and the second is choline. And it's important to realize that acetylcholine can actually be broken down by an enzyme called acetylcholine esterase. This is going to be incredibly important in terminating signals between the postganglionic cell and the target cell, and the preganglionic cell and the postganglionic cell. So now what we're going to do is we're going to give you a short overview of the receptors in the sympathetic nervous system. So remember that at the autonomic ganglion, we have acetylcholine being released. And the primary receptors that we're going to see here are the ligand-gated ion channels. And the second one is on the postganglionic neurons. We mainly see norepinephrine being released by these neurons. And in this case, you're going to largely see GPCRs, or G-protein coupled receptors, on the target cells. Now, as for the parasympathetic nervous system, we see a very similar thing. We see ligand-gated ion channels here, and we see GPCRs on the target cells. So I hope this video helped you have a basic understanding of the chemicals that we see in both the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.